that's why I thought this movie was delicious. It was like a buffet of things that you can try in different areas. There's
not the words I'd use.
I would. It's the Untitled Film Project Podcast, where you see a movie and then come talk about it with us. Let's talk about weapons. What happens when a whole bunch of school children from one class wake up in the middle of the night, walk out of their houses, and are never seen again?
Those kids walked out of those homes. No one pulled them out. No one forced them. What do you see that I don't?
Show me. Where did you go?
There's something very, very wrong going on.
For our big question, we're going to get into what we did during our summer travel plans. We happened upon some pieces of movie history, locations, without even trying. We want to know, where have you gone where all of a sudden you find yourself, oh, this is from a movie? The most buzzed about movie of the summer, weapons, initial takes, go over.
Horror is not my genre, you guys.
Same.
I love suspense and psychological thriller. Shutter Island, The Shining, Heretic, we've talked about on the show 1,000 times because I will not stop beating the drum about that. There are plenty of those kinds of movies that are like quasi horror. They market them as horror, but they're really it's like a little something different. That's what I like. Not really a slasher movie / that's no pun intended. Religious horror type of person. I gotta say, while this is not my genre, I love how this was built into chapters of characters, and you get to see the perspective of this person, and then 20 minutes later, see the perspective of this person, and then 20 minutes later, I love movies built like that. Weapons is, reluctantly say, a winner for me.
I feel like we're seeing a different kind of renaissance of this genre in a way that horror is, think Sinners, think Weapons. We're seeing the horror genre evolve in a way that captures a different kind of audience, a greater audience. That there's still going to be your slashers. There's still going to have your religious horrors. That there's still an audience for those.
Scream
Absolutely.
27.
And there's going to be an element of those things. Most movies are going to have at least a bit of it.
Of course. But what we're seeing is depth. And movies, and especially in the horror genre with depth, they chill you a little greater. But it's one of those things that I feel like myself and Gover, who aren't necessarily the slasher fans, but I'm still curious about horror in the genre, can appreciate movies like this because of the depth of the storytelling. And yeah, there's still jump scares. There's still things make you go, oh God, and quiver and everything, right, that are creepy and stuff. But when there's depth to it, it makes your brain tick in a different way. And that's exactly what Weapons did for me, was I'm appreciating the storytelling, the chapters. I'm appreciating the acting behind it. And when you have horror that's also getting really good actors involved that appreciate the story that they're telling, you're going to get a better movie overall. And that's what we're getting right now in the horror genre, is that it isn't just blood and gore. There's storytelling, depth, and plot, and sometimes open-endedness of the evaluation of the movie, which I think is what Weapons gives us. And that's what makes it even better, because you want to discuss it. Sinners gave us the same thing. There's not an exact, here's what the story is. It's you have discussion on it, and that's what film needs.
That's it. And that's why I thought this movie was delicious. It was like a buffet of things that you can try in different areas. There's
not the words I'd use.
I would.
And you did.
Yeah, there's elements of everything. You get to try mystery. You get to try just unnerving, where did that come from stuff. And you also get, the bashing of a skull. There's so much to dig into and talk about and dish about that's why I say it's delicious. I loved Weapons. What unnerved you guys about this movie? When did you feel like, I don't know if I feel safe?
Oh, from the very beginning with the voiceover.
Oh, really?
It didn't take long.
It didn't. Because it's a child talking.
But that's a trope.
But it's a child talking about the perspective of what's going on, and the trailers are sticking in my head. And so I was already creeped out. I was like, I'm just waiting. It's because you didn't know. Okay, look. The trailer for this film doesn't necessarily match what the film was, which is great.
It is great.
They threw people off in a great way.
They can do that wrong, by the way.
Absolutely.
In this case, it was good.
They did it right here because it piqued curiosity, and then it brought you in. It's like, oh, we're getting a story. Wow, okay.
More than I expected.
Yes. Ooh. Like, right off the bat, I was creeped out, but all of a sudden I went, oh, we're getting a story being told. Okay, I'm in right now. And I could tell there's certain segments of the audience I was with were just like, wait, this isn't what I expected. They stayed through and they appreciated it, but I could hear little whispers of like, this is more than I thought it was going to be. Going on.
Yeah.
But I was creeped out in a good way because when you have we don't know who the child is. We just hear this voiceover child that has witnessed everything. To me, that's creepy because you're in a horror movie. You don't know what's coming next when you have a child talking.
How are they the all-knowing narrator?
Right.
That's a little unnerving.
It's very unnerving.
To me, it was a trope, right? So when you look at classic, some classic horror movies, right, there's like certain things that, almost like a bingo card. Is there a young child that's creepy? Check. Is there some sort of religious statement? Check. Is there a creepy older person? Check. Is it, like, there's all kinds. It's a bingo card, and one of those is some sort, like The Omen, Abigail. What's the one? There's a. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is that there always seems to be a kid involved in these because it's disarming to the audience, right? You think,
Kids are scary.
There's innocence, there's naivete,
Yes.
That's why it was creepy.
They shouldn't be angry, like all these things, and that's why it's creepy. So for me, it was a fine voiceover, but I didn't take the same impact that you did because I thought, oh, here we go with the kid leading this horror movie again.
Well, it was just you hear this ominous voice starting off and it's quiet. Right?
Sure,
just
but it's
very
also
quiet.
an 11-year-old girl who's reading from a script. It's not like it's a,
Over.
I mean, come on.
Let's
Immerse
transition
yourself.
to what was the thing where you felt unnerved the first time in this movie?
The first time
Credits.
No. The first time I felt unnerved, honestly, was the first look at the ant. I thought they did
So
phenomenal.
it took a little while.
Yeah. I mean, I was invested. I was into it. Again, I was intrigued by, they're telling these in chapters. And it's the same scene, just from a different angle. I love that stuff. So I was in it already, right? From a movie-making standpoint, I was in. And plus, you don't know what's going to happen. Is that kid involved? Is Alex involved? Surely he's not involved. Is the teacher involved? Is that a red herring? Is that how I honestly thought for the first chapter, I thought the cop was the culprit. I thought the cop was the abductor.
Interesting.
Because I was like, oh, he's the person who's supposed to be safety. He's the love interest of this teacher. That's how he would know about that class.
Yeah.
I started thinking about all that.
But Han Solo could never.
I understand that. So I thought for probably the first, 40 minutes or so that it was him. Okay?
Interesting. Okay.
So I was pleasantly surprised when it is not, right? So anyway, long story short is that when I saw the ant come up on the first time, she was creepy, but human enough to where if I saw her in the wild, you'd be like, that lady's got issues.
Give her some space.
But it's not like the Saw guy, right? The guy in Saw, right? It's just it's clearly it's a caricature. It's not, it's a cartoon. But this lady was like real enough, just on that borderline of real, that it creeped the hell out of me.
Okay, Jim,
Unsettled
what about you?
I was so into the movie, but when it really unnerved me is when Julia Garner's schoolteacher character is going into the liquor store for the 20th time in the movie, but they're not following her with the camera. They're leading her. So she's kind of walking towards the camera. And so you see what she cannot see. And the unhinged girlfriend of the cop, who's basically like, not only did you have my guy for a night, but you also ruined his sobriety, like all those things. She just comes unhinged in the background. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, this is visceral. And is she supernatural? No. Is she the villain? No. But
she was ovulating.
It showed me, right.
Yeah.
She was ovulating, which means she's not. There's a lot of things going on, but it shows that that was something that showed you how wild a normal person can be when unhinged.
How she could be weaponized?
weaponized, and it becomes a recurring theme of the movie. The kids and so many. So yeah, that was when I was like, oh my.
I loved that everybody's dealing with something. Josh Brolin, Thanos' character, right? So I just like to say Thanos. so yeah, he's got his own things going on. You feel for this teacher, and then and my wife's a teacher, so maybe it hit me harder than maybe the average person. But she teaches elementary school, and I was like, oh my god, if she showed up and had her whole class was empty, like what would that do? And so maybe I was closer to it than others. But my point though is, you feel for the teacher. She's under attack from these parents who, of course, are desperate because their kid is missing. Anybody can identify with that. You had a principal trying to hold her, trying to keep her at bay. He's got his own thing going on, right, with his partner, and they're trying to have a nice weekend, and this, but he's also trying to get to the bottom of this. Things happen at his school, and then you got the cop who's dealing with sobriety issues, who's dealing with this. He doesn't want kids, obviously, it's, at least with this woman, and she's now obviously put pressure on him to have a baby. So it's just a amazing look into everyone's dealing with something, whether they outwardly look like it or not.
And what I appreciate about Josh Brolin's character as well, he's obviously angry, wants answers so much. And I was scared they were going to go into the trope of that he does something stupid and violent.
Yes.
But as soon as
the teacher did instead.
Right. But as soon as you get into the point where Julia Garner's character is getting attacked at the gas station, he flips into dad mode and protection mode as well too. So it still shows that he still has so much right in the mind. He's just trying to deal with his own issues, what are going on, but he's not a bad person.
Much more interesting character.
Very much so.
Because of that.
Because they were leading up to he was going to do something stupid. They were really trying to, with him stalking a little bit, following her. I'm glad they twisted that around so much.
Can we talk about some stupidity, though, first?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Sure.
This is one of the reasons I don't like horror movies, actually, is because of this unrealistic ridiculousn's sometimes, right? Again, this one's overall good, and you'll see my score that I really did enjoy this movie. But there are elements of the genre that were present here. She follows Alex to his house. Look, she's desperate. She's right in this. They don't tell the audience this directly, but indirectly, they basically tell the audience, like, I just want to talk to him. That's inappropriate. We're the only ones left. And I thought, oh, that's very interesting. Like, when you go through a shared experience, sometimes your only real outlet and friend is someone who can relate to you, right?
Yeah, who went through it.
Yeah, so even though he's 8 or 9 or whatever, 3rd grade, right, whatever it is, like she still, as an adult, wants to connect with him because, one, she cares about him. She wants to make sure he's okay. But also because he's the only one that understands what she's been through. So she follows him home. I can get by that. But then she goes up to the door. Nobody answers it. She notices her newspaper all over the window, and then the stupidity starts.
And that don't do it.
As a teacher who's on leave because she is suspected of possibly having something to do with this mass disappearance,
crossing boundaries.
She breaks into the backyard of this house, and then is looking through the. It's like, oh my god!
Isn't that another element of horror, though?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And does that not serve the purpose of the movie? Dumb decision. Don't do that. Don't let that person sit there with a knife even though you think they're dead. Actually, don't do the thing where you turn your back. And a character does that in the movie. So I don't know if it's not saying it's required, but it's
predictable.
It is predictable. Yet, if they didn't do it, how much less interesting would the movie be?
I'm not going to sit there and argue that at this moment. You're putting me on the spot. My point is that I just really found that irritating because it was like, oh my god, here we go.
Gopher was irritated.
Everybody in the room is like, don't do that, and this character's like, I should do that, and that drives me crazy about the genre.
What do you expect from an alcoholic white woman?
I suppose that. But my point is that if she's on leave, she's trying to get her job back, wants desperately to be in the classroom, and then they specifically tell her, don't have contact with Alex.
Vodka
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by his house, and then I'm going to break into the backyard and look in the windows.
Well, okay. I'm not trying to defend this whatsoever, but there's curiosity because all of a sudden there's newspapers covering it. So at that point,
it's the backyard.
Hold. At that point, she is a concerned citizen. Because there's
Try
something...
telling that to the law and the school board.
I mean, lots of people did, but
there's consequences. But she's still a concerned citizen.
You're also taking too much logic into a horror film here. It flips to concerned citizen mode because she's concerned about the child because all of a sudden all the windows are covered, the grass has not been cut. There's so many different aspects there too. I'm not excusing it whatsoever. It is still a stupid decision, but at least they drew it to the point of why she made that dumb decision, and it wasn't just like, I'm going to break in. She was led to breaking in to the backyard.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to lead to.
I don't like it, but I'll allow it.
Okay, that's
like a judge on Law and Order.
like
SVU.
okay. For instance, if the house was,
I'll allow it.
If the house was still kept and there wasn't things covering the windows and everything, and she still broke in, does it support it? No. Here, that at least what was laid out supported her action a little more.
Super nitpicky, shocker. But if she doesn't break into the backyard, I probably don't have a problem with it. If there's like a cut, because in the backyard, when the newspaper's up on the windows, right, there's like a little hole that she looks through, right?
Yeah.
If that's in the front, like maybe the third or fourth window down or something like that, then I probably
It's
don't
also
have a
different from
problem
the trailer, because in the trailer, when she peeks in, it's the flash to the ant.
Oh, okay.
In the trailer. So they actually flipped it in a great way towards just the silhouette of the parents.
Yeah.
So I did like that change as well, too.
Yeah.
And that particular scene with her going into their yard where she shouldn't, in the back of the house to look in, there is a recurring theme that I loved in Weapons, which is evil keeps flourishing when people adhere to civility in society and doing these social graces. So you have Alex's mom and dad. Like, we don't even know this aunt. I mean, we haven't even
family, buddy,
but
and
she's
family's
family,
important.
so we've got to allow her to do that. And you even get that with Benedict Wong's school administrator character when Aunt Gladys comes to his home. Like, okay, well, I don't want to make her stay outside, but because she's an older woman, she's playing on is she delirious? Is there something dementia wise going on with this woman? So we better let her in. All these things allow this movie to move forward in a way that I love, because people didn't want to, like Alex's parents, like, let's not go investigate his house because let's give them some space. They've been through a lot. There's the respect for social graces allows bad things to happen.
And as we learned in Sinners, stop inviting people in.
Do not ever let anybody in, ever, at your house. Unless they have an Amazon package or a pizza, get them off your porch.
The pizza guy better not be entering my house, though.
Right. And can we
In
just...
a different movie genre,
Matter of fact,
he
the
would.
Amazon guy shouldn't be entering my house either.
In another different movie genre, he would as well.
Let's expand that. Don't allow relatives to come stay with you.
Amen.
Look what happens.
Done.
One of the most fun characters in this entire movie, and steals it when he has the most screen time, is Austin Abrams as the junkie James. Oh my God, so well done. He was fantastic. He was funny. He was scary. Every scene he was in just seemed to pop. Credit to this
great.
guy.
Yeah, he was great, and especially when you see other perspectives. Like, we're seeing other perspectives, and all of a sudden we get his, like, we're getting the junkie's perspective and everything, the horrors that he saw and dealt with as well, too. And the comedic aspect of him between him and Josh Brolin in the fight was fantastic.
Over and over and over.
And that's one of the things, too, in horror, you don't always get comedy. There was not forced, there was natural comedy that they included in here.
Natural's a good word.
Whether it was just to give the audience a breath or just to have you alleviate some of the suspense that you're under, there was good comedy in here as well. That, again, it wasn't saying you're going to laugh at this, just because the way the actors delivered it, it made it funny.
The pause that Josh Brolin's character Archer takes as he's learning stuff, and it is probably about in the first quarter of the film, and it's quiet, and then he just says, "What the f?" The audience exploded in the theater I was in, because it was funny, normal for somebody to say that, because we're all saying it in our heads, and it just released the whole theater full of tension. Comedy, Weapons has plenty of it.
And I'll say, because I'm the noted childhood actor hater on this show, that Kerry Christopher as Alex was great. In any other year, he probably would be second or third place on my Music City Film Critics Association ballot for Best Young Actor. We've seen a pretty murderer's row of great performances this year, so he probably won't make it. But he was really good at it. He carried that part of the movie, which is very difficult to do.
Yep.
And it wasn't because it was a trope. It was because he actually was a genuinely good actor in this. And so props to Kerry Christopher and everything that he's going to do in the future. I know he's been on like Days of Our Lives and like things like that, but this is like obviously his first like major role, and he was excellent. Yeah, he had the good range, and I really felt for him because of what he brought to the table, not because he's a kid who's orphaned and now is under control of this. He actually brought some a lot of weight to the character.
And how about that character, because he's observing so much, that he's the one that finally gets the revenge, and is able to sick his classmates.
Because and I will say that to me again, that was anti-trope, right?
Yeah.
Usually it's okay, the hero's going to save the day, and actually it was kind of an indirect way he did it. Spoiler alert, by the way. So yeah, it was it was awesome. It was awesome.
All right, let's score Weapons from Zach Kreger and an amazing cast. Let's start with Jeremy Gover.
The performances were great. The story was interesting. The directing, like the way they told the story in the chapters, was top notch. There were a little too many horror movie tropes for me. Again, understanding this is not my genre, okay? So if you don't like comedies, you're probably not going to like score a comedy pretty high. I do, in all honesty, try to take all that out and say, well, I'm not a horror guy, but what would I,
Did they make a great movie?
Right, they make a great movie. That's what I'm trying to score it as. So for me, I'm giving it a 7.0. I think it's well worth your time, especially if you love the genre. My son actually asked me, do you think horror movie people would like it? And I go, I think they're going to love it because it's not the same old stereotypical, again, not slasher film, but just the same old things you see all the time. It's told in a very interesting way. Again, the performances are really good. You don't get that all the time either. And the story is interesting. They actually don't explain why or how she became a witch, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And those are
maybe makes it better.
Right. And so the suspension of disbelief and the fact that you don't have to know all the lore to it and still get have a good time at the theater. I really recommend it if you're a horror fan. If you're not a horror fan, see, I only went to see it because we were going to do it on this show, okay? But I got a lot of value in it. And so if I can do that, then you certainly can, but I would recommend it only for horror movie fans. So 7.0 for me.
I definitely enjoyed this movie while I watched it. I think I've had more fun talking about it, seeing other people's takes on it, looking at the memes of Aunt Gladys. So this is the movie that
and the kids running. Don't forget the kids running.
And the kids running. I mean, it just keeps on giving. There was so much about this movie that you can still peel apart. How unnerving were the kids' arms as they ran, which, come to find out, that was based on a classic news photo from Vietnam of a kid that was so unnerving that's what he was going for with those kids. So it's like there's all these discovery phases after seeing the movie that make it so much fun to watch and then to just peel back as things go on. So for those reasons and for bringing something very new and I guess a breath of fresh air to horror. Credit to Zach Kreger. I'm giving it an 8. I loved it.
I just noticed that creepy Hugh Grant is just over my shoulder here.
Yes.
So it's just adding to the whole element of what we're talking about with the creepiness here.
Go ahead. You can keep going.
Oh my gosh. I smell blueberry.
God, I love that movie.
Me too.
Heretic. You haven't seen it, go see it.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
Oh my goodness.
So what intrigued me the most about the movie was just the cast, because when you have a strong cast, it triggers to me that there was buy-in from great actors that they believed in the product they were going to make, especially in this genre that doesn't always necessarily attract the greatest actors, right? So they brought off the bat.
Tara Reid, for example.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Sharknado, okay?
She's been in others.
Discussion.
I know, but
It's another day's discussion. Yes.
but right off the bat,
Tara Reid out here catching strays on the Untitled Film Project Podcast. I apologize, Jack.
hey, let's review the new War of the Worlds while we're at it.
I already did. It's on the UntitledFilmProjectPod.com.
But Weapons to me was the perfect amount of creepy and intriguing and comedy that made it a good, well-rounded movie for me. That it's, I don't want to say hard to classify as horror because it definitely is horror.
Oh, yeah.
But it adds so many other elements of the mystery and suspense in there that makes it quite intriguing. And that's what I really appreciated about the film. And I think that's why it has legs right now in the theaters, is people keep talking about it.
But those are the best movies, right?
Absolutely.
Like when you go see an action movie, but there's like a lot of comedy in it,
Right.
Or you go see a comedy and it's actually like a
There's depth.
It's touching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Heartfelt.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. When you can
Absolutely.
cross genres like that, but kind of secure onto one like this
Right.
one, I think it's great.
And I know we talk about, the society talks about how there aren't any original thoughts. There's nothing original out there. Like there is. And you just have to make the effort to go and see it as well. I mean, we've had some good original movies this year. I mean, I keep going back. Sinners is great original, and it's horror.
It's a perfect example.
I'll throw Sketch in there. Sketch was original, and it's awesome.
We are getting original here. It's just the marketing dollars are going behind those sequels and those remakes and things like
The
that.
bankable ones,
But I
yeah.
promise you, there's really good original filmmaking still being made and still worthwhile going to see at a theater to enjoy the theater experience as well, to see these things, especially when you're in a group. Horror is great to see with people. Like, because there's just an energy, and they're just like comedy. We've talked about with comedy. Energy in the room is important for certain genres, especially horror, and I think comedy are two of the ones. Superhero films, if they're really good, those can be really good to be in as well.
I would say if any movie's really good, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
anyways, really good. I mean, there's some dramas where I could be like, you're not reacting as a crowd as much.
No,
Right.
but I would argue
But-
that the vibe and the energy in
The vibe
room,
and the energy,
it can
yes.
be
And you
tense
can
or it can
feel
be,
energy
yeah.
as well. So I really appreciate the storytelling here. We got some closure, but not all closure. And I think that's what's good about it, because we can talk about it, and you're not wrong. I mean, the director even said there's not one point they're trying to make with this film, which is fantastic, because you can draw from it what you want, and you could still be right. And you're still taking from it to have discussion. And that's what I enjoy about movies that are good, is that you can discuss them and everyone can make a point, and whether you agree or not, their point's still valid. And that's what Weapons is. That's what Weapons does, is it helps you make a valid point. However, you wanted to digest this movie, you're right in your world, and there's not a right or a wrong answer. And that's why I appreciate about it, and that's why I get an 8 for me as well. So I really enjoyed my time watching it. And when I say enjoy, I wasn't sitting there, happy. It was a really good experience, and movies need to give you good experience, and Weapons does that.
All right, it's big question time on the Untitled Film Project podcast. Did you ever find yourself all of a sudden you're in a movie set, or maybe something where an incredible movie was filmed? Happened to us this summer. Not planned, but each one of us seemed to stumble into a little bit of movie history. Want to know about yours, but let's share what we found. Justin Bradford, you were off on a train.
Yeah, so I was in New Mexico recently, in Santa Fe, and wife and I had wanted to go on this train ride. It's the Skyway Railway, and it's really cool, first of all, because it's a sunset train ride, and there's live music that's being performed. We actually had someone from the Santa Fe Opera have a surprise performance on this train.
Oh, very
It's
cool.
incredible. And here's the backstory to this. This train was bought and made possible by George R.R. Martin.
Oh.
He's the mind behind this whole
Is that
thing.
the link then?
No.
Oh.
There's more.
Double whammy here.
So it was like learning the history behind this train and why he wanted to make this happen, because there's multiple different train rides you can take. There's a margarita cruise. There's a history one. They do different performances,
Right.
things like that. And there's this open flatbed you can go out and actually experience, because the train's only going like 10, 15 miles an hour. They're not just it's not for transportation purposes. It's for experience,
It's-
right?
Yeah.
Flying through the Rocky Mountains.
Right.
The journey is the thing. Yeah.
Right. But what was really cool is we're sitting in this train car, because I upgraded to the VIP experience, is we're sitting in a train car called the Acoma. And this train is a real train car from the 1930s, and it was used in the movie Oppenheimer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
And so it was the discussion that Oppenheimer and General Groves, so you have Cillian Murphy and Matt Damon on a train discussing the Manhattan Project, and we were showing the corner. Now, granted, it was laid out differently now than it was in the movie, because in the movie it was used as a passenger train car, but the exact corner where it was filmed. And so that was really cool to see this, that it's still being used. And because of that, like, it's being used by this railway, because this train car has so much history behind it as well, too. That was the connection. It was pretty
awesome.
cool.
living and breathing movie set and many other things.
That is awesome.
How fun. I was in Connecticut visiting relatives, and we were just kind of hitting a bunch of different towns, and all of a sudden we found ourselves in Mystic, Connecticut. And the movie that besides Pretty Woman, put Julia Roberts on the map. Mystic Pizza. We went to Mystic Pizza. We're like, where are we going to eat? Well, we could go to any one of these places, but let's go to the place made famous from Mystic Pizza. And I'm going to tell you, the pizza was awesome.
Even better.
Yeah. I mean,
They could have rested on their laurels,
didn't
everybody, and
have-
said, you know what? We're going to a tourist attraction. We're going to phone it in. But no.
Exactly. This is a decades-old movie, but we're going to keep the standards of our pizza up here. So, was it the greatest pizza I ever had in the world? No. But was it high marks on pretty much anything you judge a pizza? Yes, it was. Thank you, Mystic Pizza.
Do they have a menu item called the Julia Roberts?
They did not.
Oh, that's a missed
thankfully.
opportunity, actually.
But there was plenty of movie stills and frames up on the wall.
Okay, that's cool. So I've got one recent one and then a fun one that I'll throw back to in a second. My son Dell was in acting, and he recently got a gig, his first speaking role, actually, up in New York. And we decided to make the investment to go up there and let him film that. Obviously, we took a bath on it financially because they're hiring locals. They're not hiring people from Nashville, Tennessee, and then paying their.
It wasn't the cash mother load that
it was
some might expect.
A super awesome short film that he was picked to be the bully in, and it was a diner scene, and it was done at the Mineola Diner, and the Mineola Diner was featured in The Irishman. So
very cool.
Yeah, there was some sort of confusion of whether it was Goodfellas also, but I think that comes from the fact that there's scenes inside the diner in Goodfellas was not shot there, but the outside, like the facade, was something like that. So I'm negating that, saying that The Irishman was filmed there, so that's why I'm going with The Irishman. So The Irishman was filmed there. It was
neat.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, really cool. Very thankful for that opportunity for him. And then the fun thing was back in the late 90s, I was a huge fan, I still am, but I was a huge fan of the movie Swingers. And I was in Southern California for something, and I wanted to see all the Swingers stops. So I went to did the whole tour. The Los Feliz Par 3 golf course, the Derby, where Big Bad Voodoo Daddy played in the movie. I went to all those different places and just to see. I went to the alley they were at, and the whole, nobody's going to carjack your K car, Snoop Dogg, that whole thing. They did all that stuff. So it was just really, really cool. But this summer, Mineola Diner, Mineola, New York, was my recent accidental history in the movies.
So did you find yourself somewhere and all of a sudden you realized, oh, they're filming a movie right now, or they did this one of my favorite movies. Oh, they filmed it here. Or did you purposely make a pilgrimage to someplace because you loved the movie? If that's the case and you're watching on YouTube, hit us up in the comments. If you're listening to the podcast and you want to hit us up on socials, we'd love to hear your stories. What did you see? What was going on? What was the movie? Did you see somebody famous? Share it with us. You can hit us up on socials. You can find me on most of the platforms as Jim Chandler Now.
It's go overtime.
Justin B. Bradford.
Thanks for joining us in the Untitled Film Project Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.